What is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody's doing great. I'm awesome. And I'm telling y'all, man, I've been spending countless hours in that lab dissecting rookie film, and I got a good synopsis on at least the top 5 of the quarterbacks so far in this class that I see as we sit today. Yes, it is a fluid event, but you know what? It's going to continue to morph as we move forward to the Combine, which is next week, and then until we get to the NFL Draft. So what are we talking? We got NFL prospects, power rankings for the quarterbacks for the 2023 NFL Draft class for these quarterbacks. It's good stuff. There is some good quality talent here in this draft. It may surprise you who my number 1 is, but I mean, buckle up. Let's go. NFL prospect power rankings, because it's exciting and it's the offseason. Let's roll. You know, the whole purpose of this is to get the rankings, in some degree, shape, or form to be proper based on skill set, talent, and then potential ceiling. So a lot of y'all may disagree with some of the ranks. That's okay. I mean, if we all agreed, would it be fun? No, it would not. This is how I see these guys today. Number 5, we got Anthony Richardson from the Florida Gators. And okay, he's a big guy, man. 6'4", 236. He only played in 22 games, 54.7 on the completion percentage. Not great overall. He is a project type of guy, man. 31.05 in yardage, 24 TDs to 15 interceptions. But he is a unit, man. 6'4", 236. He's just a massive individual. Very good stature and frame. No kidding. He adds a lot of good rushing upside. 161 attempts for 11-16 in yards and 12 rushing scores. He's going to be that guy that you're kind of looking at, hopefully he can round out the rest of his passing game, because he is a unit to bring down in the run, man. But for, some of the pros and cons, so it's a quick synopsis, like I'm saying. It's not, I'm going to be diving into these guys full-on scouting reports, so I'm saving a little bit for that. But I'm telling you, prototypical size, big and thick, like I'm saying. He does put it all out there. I mean, he's got a great, prototypical frame that the NFL is coveting from the quarterback position. He definitely has check on that. He does have a cannon of an arm. He is throwing the ball. I mean, it's all over the film. He can chuck it anywhere, 60, nearly 70 air yards. You can see it, man. He's got the arm. There is no question in that. He does have great velocity on the ball. It comes out and it shoots out of his arm, gets to the wide receivers. Does it make it there all the time? There is some question marks in that respect, but he does have good velocity on the ball, on the ball when he throws it. No question, man. He is very tough to bring down in the run game. Another great positive, aka kind of Cam Newton-esque, Josh Allen-esque, a very difficult man to bring down simply because of the stature and the weight and the strength that he does possess. He will be a force in the run game. He is great on the ad-libs, man. When he's trying to, escape the pocket, try to extend the play, he is very good in that respect as well. Yes, the game isn't necessarily, top end, because he only played 22 games in some fashion with the Gators. So there's going to be work that's going to be needed. Is he necessarily fully raw? I think we could say he's a raw type of quarterback at this point when it comes to potential, but for the ad-lib ability, you got to give checks for that, man. Inexperienced QB prospect, like I'm saying, it's going to take some time. That's the one question mark. That's why I got him at 5. If you're ranking your quarterbacks based only on potential, you're going to have him a lot higher than I am, but I think that, there is ability here to, help him progress his game with good, solid coaching, but he is definitely inexperienced and somewhat raw. He does have some moments of extreme brilliance and others of a complete dreadfulness, and this is the problem. I mean, it comes with gameplay. You got to learn how to play the game. You're going to have your ups and downs, and I think he just hasn't had enough to say that, he's anywhere near close to being a polished prospect at this point. There is a lot of question marks that I have in his game. Can he make a lot of the throws? Absolutely. Does he make a lot of mistakes? Absolutely. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. He will take time to grow. He is that, rawer quarterback prospect in this draft class. No kidding, but he is loaded with ability, hence why a lot of people are getting excited about Anthony Richardson. I am too. I think he is a good quality prospect, but anything in the top 15, you got to think is a reach, and you got to have a plan to develop this man in the NFL. Otherwise, if you're going to try to start him day 1, it's going to not end up very well and favorable for your NFL team. Number 4, Will Levis, and a lot of people are going to say, what are you talking about? You got to hear me out, okay? He is 6'3", 222. Very good size, prototypical size once again. And that's kind of the notion you're seeing from a lot of these quarterbacks. They do possess, outside of one, maybe Bryce Young, I mean, these guys they're put together human beings, man. 6'3", 222, if not higher. I've seen some say he's 230, and that's fine. And you can see it on the film. He's very much a unit in himself. He can absolutely break tackles in the run game. He can, avoid the pass rush. He is very good in that respect. Statistically speaking, 38 games, 64.9 on the completion percentage, 58.76 in yards, 46 TDs to 25 interceptions. He did start at Penn State, did transfer over to Kentucky, and I mean, it was his best opportunity to start. I still had question marks. You couldn't beat out Clifford and Penn State to start. I mean, that's a question mark in itself. I mean, we had, arguments to other prospect quarterbacks that had to move, like a Malik Willis. He couldn't beat out Auburn Bo Nix, and he had to move out. In this type of situation, you got to keep in mind there is issues. Why he could not win the starting job in Penn State is the big question mark, but he did play relatively well in Kentucky. Rushing upside is there somewhat. 312 in attempts, 742 in yards, and 17 rushing touchdowns. He will be very good in the RPOs, especially on the goal line. He's very difficult to bring down. I've seen some people flirting with the idea that he might be a little bit better of a Baker Mayfield in that sense. I think he is better in the rushing aptitude than a Baker Mayfield. But, I mean, for a little bit of the pros and cons, a little synopsis on what I see him, he's, again, well-built frame, well-put-together human being. He won't, struggle in that department. He does have a very good arm, a live arm. It throws the ball down the field with, it's effortless. It's a very good deep ball. It's a very good ball when he is on target, man. The pass velocity, when you look at some of his workout videos, it just screams off the arm, man. Might be one of the best arm velocity passes in this entire class. No kidding about that. It is very strong coming out the throwing motion, and he gets it out extremely quick with extreme power. No questions about that. Might be the best in this entire class. He can make most of the throws, I should say. And we've seen it. So the check boxes do got to be said. Can he make the throws? Over the middle, shallow. Over the middle, mid-cross. Over the middle, deep. Those are big boy throws you want to see, right? You're going 7 routes to the pylon. You want to see those be thrown in front of your wide receivers. You have seen this from a Will Levis. He can make most of the throws. He does stand in the pocket versus pressure. He will wait it out, wait for that wide receiver to finish his route tree, and then he's going to unload the ball and usually take punishment for it. So he is a tough human being, a tough SOB. Will Levis, man, I don't question the toughness whatsoever. I think he can stand in that pocket, take some hits, take some punishment, and he can find his wide receivers down the field, man. His touch on the ball, I'm going to give him a decent as we sit today. It's not great. It's not in the elite stature, but it is decent enough for me to say, yes, he can do it. He's done it. And is it consistent? That's the problem. It's decent enough for me to say, it's something he can work on and potentially be coached on to get that touch on that ball that much better. Ball placement and accuracy, this is the problem. It's inconsistent at best. Yes, his completion percentage is nearly 65%, but a lot of that was coming behind the line of scrimmage. A lot of that was very short passes. You got to understand when you're seeing a Will Levis play ball, there are times where you're like, where are you going with that ball, man? But, I mean, again, it's coaching. These guys are young prospects. He only had the 2 years at Kentucky, so he needs better coaching to help him progress and move along in this process. He's a very good talent. He's got, God-given talent. You got to say that. Can a guy run a 4.3 40? That's God-given talent, and then you're going to hope you can round out the rest of his game. This is kind of the same thing. You got Will Levis. He's got a cannon of an arm. Velocity is absolutely insane on that ball. Can you round out the inadequacies in his accuracy, his judgment, and his decision-making? Those are the big keys, man. Pocket presence to me is average at best right now. And again, it comes with footwork and understanding how to read the field. So again, that's a coachable trait you can definitely instill in a Will Levis. I got him right now at number 4. Number 3, Hendon Hooker, excuse me. A lot of people writing this guy off because the ACL, man. I cannot do it. Hooker is a good damn quarterback. Moving to Tennessee was a stroke of genius. Transferring out, coming to Tennessee was a stroke of genius for him. His stats go 45 games played, 66.9 completion percentage, 8,974 yards total, 80 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. Like I said, phenomenal numbers. You're flirting with CJ Stroud and Bryce Young numbers here. Yes, he did play more games. but it comes into his progression that he did get at Tennessee the past 2 years. And this is what you want to see, the growth measurements in your young quarterbacks. We can give a perfect example is Josh Allen every single time. Everyone thought Josh was going to suck in the NFL. Inaccurate quarterback. Cannon of an arm, but can he throw the ball accurately? These are the types of things you want to see your young quarterbacks progress and continue to move forward. If they start to, have a few bad games but get back on track, that's okay. You want to see progression. You want to see them test the defenses, right? Rushing upside is definitely here. 517 rush attempts for 2,079 yards and 25 rushing TDs. He is that dual threat quarterback that you're looking for. True dual threat. No kidding, man. Mobility is a plus upgrade. The juke moves, the spin moves is all there on film for Hendon Hooker. Oh, man, I struggle with that man's name. Hendon Hooker. It's there. The mobility is definitely a plus grade for me. He can move with the best of them out of the pocket, scramble drills. He can do it very, very well. He is 6'4", 218. Again, prototypical size and frame you're looking for. Maybe a little bit heavier you'd like to see, 225, 230, but it's semantics. He can gain 10 pounds in an NFL weight room, no problem, and not lose much of his speed. Is he a field burner? I got to say, he's got a lot of jets, but I don't know if he's Lamar Jackson type-esque in that speed juice wheels, but he is a very good open field runner. No question about that. He's got a damn nice deep ball. Very pretty, good strong arm. I'm not going to say it's in the elite category, but he's got a very good strong arm, live arm as well. And it's kind of the notion you're seeing from these top 5 quarterbacks as we sit today. I do not have any question marks on his, arm strength at this point, where I do say that, he can short arm throws as he, pressure, footwork. You see it many times where the receivers had to pull up for his balls. It's not because he didn't have the arm strength. It's technique issues that can definitely be coached out as well, man. He also has very good zip on the ball. I don't want to say it's top-end velocity, but the zip is good enough. It is there for him to sneak it into windows and make the most difficult throws. No kidding. He will create when the pocket does break down. I do like this about his game. Creative outside the pocket is fantastic. They roll him out to the right. He rolls out to the left off a scramble drill. He's still looking downfield. That's a very good sign. Keeping his eyes downfield, looking for the wide receivers before he does take off. We have seen him take off before he actually progresses the field, but I think this past season we did see a lot more where he constantly was looking for his wide receivers before he was looking to run. Very big positives for me in that sense. He can lock in on his one read, and that's troublesome as well, but again, very coachable. He's got to learn how to progress the field that much better, but it's not a huge glaring issue for me at this point that I've seen from his film, but he does lock in on his one read. It is, the air raid scheme in Tennessee, so, very much he's looking at the one guy to make the plays, trying to bomb it down the field, for example. Those are the kind of things you want to see. If it's not there, we've seen mistakes happen, overthrows, underthrows. You got to read the field just a little bit more. You want to see a little bit more out of that. Like I said, he can short arm those throws. And then the biggest problem, I think, why a lot of people are fading Hooker right now is because he did tear that ACL late in, November of this past year in 2022. So that's the problem. He was, pegged as a front runner for the Heisman. He was having such a good season, and then he rips the ACL, goes down. His season was over. And now I think a lot of people are sleeping on his services right now. Hooker could find himself. Yes, he's likely not going to play this next coming season. If he does, it's going to be very much in the second half of the NFL season. But, Hooker could be one of these steals later in the first round. I guarantee you he's going to likely go in that first round. I'd be shocked to see him fall out. Actually, because of the ACL, he may fall into the second round, I should say. But they're going to get a definite, whoever grabs him is going to get a definite great quarterback on their hands. Here we go, man. Number 2, Bryce Young. Everyone's going to say you're crazy, which means I got CJ Stroud as number 1. You guys know this, man. But height, 6 feet, 194. I think when the measurables come in, he's going to be under 6 feet. And that's the biggest problem for me. He does not have the, prototypical stance that we want to see, but he makes up for it in a lot of ways. 34 games, 65.8 on the completion percentage, 83.56 in yardage, 80 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Not much to the rushing upside for a Bryce Young, 139 for 162 and 7 touchdowns. Most of those touchdowns were scored in the red zone inside the 5. But he is the polished QB prospect. Out of everybody in this group right now, you got to agree, Bryce Young has the greatest upside from day one. He is the most polished, pro-ready quarterback coming from Alabama, playing with Nick Saban. There's not much you can argue with that, okay? And that's why everyone's going to put him as number one, and I completely understand, okay? I'm not saying it's very slight between him and CJ Stroud, in my opinion. By a hair, by a needlehead, that's how close it is, man. Bryce Young, accomplished college football career, no kidding. But look, he plays in the SEC, plays with Bama, plays with Nick Saban, like I said. You're going to have some pretty heavy accomplishments, no kidding. But Bryce Young, what he does on the field extremely well, he's very accurate. Even though 65.8 doesn't, throw and scream off the board, you want to see 70% to say he's very accurate, but he is very accurate in his passes, man. Ball placement, top end, almost to the elite category. You got to say he's always putting the ball in the hands of his wide receivers. When he played with John Mechie and Jamison Williams, that was the better tape to watch than this past year in 2022, and that's what you're going to get from a Bryce Young in the NFL. No kidding. He's going to be that guy. He's going to make up for his lack of height and stature. He knows how to play football, and his ball placement is going to definitely be there. The other aspect of his game, I think he is one of the best, if not the best out of this class, is that pocket presence. It's just superb, man. He knows he feels the rush. He knows where it's coming from. He plays the pocket extremely well. Yes, he's not necessarily the rushing upside quarterback, which doesn't limit and preclude him from taking off and running the football, but he just knows how to manipulate the rush that's coming at him. Steps up, steps to the side. Footwork is very good. Pocket presence, to me, probably one of the best in this class. He is also very creative outside the pocket. He doesn't give up on plays. He's always looking for his wide receivers. Like I said, not being that rushing upside quarterback, he constantly is looking for plays. So he's rolling out due to the pass rush. He's definitely finding his wide receivers down the field. Arm talent, to me, is very good. Not elite, okay? I struggled with this one because you want to say he's got a good arm. He's got a live arm also. He can get it down the field with no issues whatsoever, but it's not a Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen arm. It definitely isn't, and that's just what it is with a Bryce Young. Still good enough to dominate in the NFL, no kidding, but it definitely is not in that elite, quote-unquote, category. He progresses the field extremely well also. Doesn't give up on his first read. He knows where all his guys are, the check downs, the short outs, the slants. He sees it all. He's dissecting, and he's able to hit his wide receivers with high frequency. We've seen it, like I said, man, the tape with John Mechie and Jamison Williams as his wide receivers. That's the film you got to watch and study because that was a phenomenal year for a Bryce Young. He is undersized, like I said, which is dropping him a little bit down my board because, I got to go for it. I'm a sucker for it, man, when you got top-end quarterbacks that are, standing above the 6'3", 6'4" mark, which leads us to CJ Stroud. He's my number one guy, and I'll explain why. And it's, like I said, by a hair. CJ Stroud, 6'3", 215. He does possess the height that I do like. Likely going to put on at least 10 more pounds, be in that 220 range. He only played 26 games, almost 70% completion percentage, 81-23 in yards, 85 touchdowns, only 12 interceptions. He also is not a rushing quarterback, 80 attempts for 136 and 1 touchdown scored. Can he do it? Can he not do it? That's going to be the thing that we want to see. He is athletic, and he can definitely get outside the pocket. He is not a statue, which is the positive, but did he really have to take off and run? He just, dissected defenses and carved them up because he had such a great wide receiver core as well. But when we're talking about the positives and some negatives, great size and frame, like I'm saying. You got to love it from a CJ Stroud. Like we said, from Will Levis, from Hooker, from Richardson, they're all standing in that 6'3" to 6'4" range, which is very positive for these quarterbacks. Arm talent is top end, man. I love the arm talent from a CJ Stroud. He definitely has it there. Great pass velocity. The deep shots are there. He's always throwing the ball, always, high percentage of the time, I should say, in front of the wide receiver, especially on those deep balls. Ball placement is just so good. How many times we see him fitted in the breadbasket? How many times we see him hit in the open windows, the mid-cross, the mid-deeps? These are big boy throws. In between those safeties with a linebacker underneath, he's making these throws. Very accurate quarterback, all in all. Everything we're talking about right now, the ball placement to me, seriously, my pants get wet every time I see him make those throws because they're just so damn good. It's just right on point. Yes, he's not perfect. He makes mistakes, but when he makes those throws, you know what kind of throw. Watch the UGA game, the game of the college football playoff. That's when you saw what CJ Stroud could eventually be. I think that was the best performance I've seen from him in his entire collegiate collegiate career. They just came up short in that game, but he played his damn lights out, and I mean, it was unbelievable what he was able to do. His pass release is very good as well. There's not a lot of wasted motion. He almost has it figured out. Yes, it's going to be some coaching also to his game to help him, elevate that a little bit more. But I think it's very good right now on the release, man. Pocket poise is above average to me. I think that's where Bryce Young probably has him a little bit more. I have seen Stroud get sacked on numerous occasions where he doesn't feel the pressure or he can't step up in the pocket. He's just, very, football's a game of inches and milliseconds. So, I mean, you step side the wrong way and bad things happen. You step the other way and good things happen. That's football. And I think, just understanding where that the pressure is coming from the rushing on the defensive side, it's going to help him that much more in the NFL. His full-on mobility, I do got question marks. I want to see him take off a little bit more and see how good he is at that. I'm not saying he can't do it because I've seen him. He is mobile enough to at least roll out. He does have good athletic ability, so I want to see it maybe just a little bit more, and I mean, that's not necessarily his game, and that's definitely fine. He did benefit from top-end wide receiver cores at Ohio State, and I mean, that's a knock a lot of people are suggesting. I'm going to put it down here just as a note. I don't think it's a knock. What, you're going to punish the man for having unbelievable wide receiver cores for his time at Ohio State? I mean, why does nobody talk about that when it comes to Bryce Young having Jamison Williams and John Mechie? Nobody talks about that. He had a baller core just because he didn't have the great one this past year. Bryce Young didn't. I'm not blaming C.J. Stroud for that. He exploited that, man. He made these wide receivers. He made Garrett Wilson great. He made Chris Olave great. Jackson Smith-Njigba, Marvin Harrison Jr. I can go on and on because they got such talented wide receivers, but he was able to support this cast with high-end statistics and high regularity. It's exactly what you're looking for from your quarterback. Everyone says he's got no heart. He's kind of in it for himself. Go back and look. He bought this, and okay, yeah, it's not a great thing or a big deal. I think it's a big deal. He went out and bought suits for some of his teammates that couldn't afford suits for that college football playoff. So don't tell me this guy's not a leader and got some heart and he's a team player, because I'm definitely all in on C.J. Stroud. The difference between Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud as we sit today, for me, why I got him ranked at number one, I got to say it's ceiling, okay? I think the ceiling is just a little bit higher for C.J. Stroud. I think they're both going to be very quality quarterbacks in the NFL, but for me, C.J. Stroud is just a touch higher for that potential ceiling that I see. You got to love both of them, but I got C.J. Stroud at number one. I hope I'm going to see some people trying to crucify me in the comments, but nevertheless, that is what I see, man. Stroud and Young 1 and 2, and the rest are there to follow. So there you have it. That is quarterback prospects for this year's NFL Draft 2023. The power rankings, how we see them today. And I mean, okay, again, I'm telling y'all this is a fluid event. Things do change as we move forward to the NFL Draft, which is a couple months away. But it's getting exciting, man. I'm so happy we're doing off-season work. I'm dissecting players in this lab, and it's going to continue. Wait up for those scouting reports. The NFL Combine is coming. Get ready. We're just getting started this offseason, man. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.